All right, let's get this out of the way real quick. Yes, it's just one game. Nobody's pushing the panic button just yet. But let's not act like we didn't see this coming. The signs were already there during the offseason. They were there again during preseason. And now that we've seen the Lakers hit the floor for a regular season game, it's clear the same flaws are still lingering. This isn't about jumping to conclusions. It's about recognizing patterns. And right now, the pattern is screaming lack of athleticism. Now, look, this team isn't completely broken. There's talent on the roster, for sure. But it's also true that they're missing that blend of two-way players, guys who can defend, who can run the floor, who can stretch the court and knock down a shot, and who can switch assignments without getting cooked. Basically, they need modern, versatile wings who actually fit the pace and space era. And if we're being honest, they needed those pieces months ago. The problem is, you can't just wake up and rebuild your whole roster in the middle of the season. You're not going to suddenly trade half the team and find 5 perfect fits overnight. That's just not how the NBA works. But here's the reality. If the Lakers want to be serious contenders, they're going to need to make some kind of move. Maybe not a total roster overhaul, but at least 2 or 3 key additions. Some real athletic, switchable wings who can fill in the gaps. Right now, they've got 1 first-round pick, a second, and a few pick swaps to work with. Not exactly the kind of asset chest that gives you front-row seats at the trade deadline. But what they do have are some expiring contracts, which could be valuable in the right deal. Now, I'm not saying you're going to flip Gabe Vincent for Matisse Thybulle straight up, or Rui Hachimura for Andrew Wiggins. It's not 2K, it's the real world. You can maybe pull off a 2-for-1 or get creative with a 3-team deal. But if you can land 2 high-level, versatile defenders who can run the floor and give you a spark on both ends, that's a game changer. And even if you can't land the big names, there's another route. Just stack up on athleticism. Go after young guys who can move, who are hungry, who've been waived or stashed at the end of someone's bench. You don't need every player to be polished. Sometimes just having a guy who's 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan, a 40-inch vertical, and the energy to chase down every loose ball makes a difference. Those are the kind of players who can swing momentum in your favor even if they're not scoring 20 a night. Now look, you're not asking those guys to start. You're not handing them the keys. You just need them to bring juice off the bench, hustle, contest shots, and keep opposing wings honest. A guy like Theo, if he becomes what some scouts project him to be, that's exactly the prototype. Big, long, bouncy, finishes around the rim, defends like a madman. Is the jumper there? Not really. But do the Lakers need another shooter? Or do they need someone who can plug the gaping hole in their perimeter defense? That's the real question. The same thing goes for Jared Vanderbilt. When he's healthy, when he's moving like his old self, he's the kind of guy who changes the complexion of a game without needing a single play run for him. The dude just makes winning plays. Rebounds, second chance points, dives on the floor, switches on defense. But right now, something's off. Maybe it's the knee, maybe it's rust from preseason, but he hasn't looked quite right. Against Golden State, he wasn't the same Vondo we saw in flashes last season. And that's a problem because this team needs his energy and defensive presence desperately. And if Vondo isn't 100%, who steps up in that role? Rui? Austin? Not really. They bring other things to the table, but they don't solve the athleticism gap. Marcus Smart? Sure, he's tough, he defends, but at this stage in his career, he's not that explosive athlete you need flying around out there. Gabe Vincent? Doesn't have the size or the bounce. Even Luka, who's crafty and physical, he's not that kind of lateral athlete who's locking up guards on switches or chasing wings off screens. He's effective in his own way, but you can't rely on him to be your best athlete on defense. DeAndre Ayton is another interesting piece in this puzzle. He's a freak athlete for center. We saw him switch on a Steph Curry, keep him in front, force the ball out of his hands, and then recover and help contest a shot on the same possession. That's not normal. That's special. But Ayton's a big. You want him protecting the paint, not living on the perimeter chasing guards around. It's great that he can do it in spurts, but that's not the role you want to lock him into for 82 games. You want him near the rim, cleaning the glass, finishing lobs, blocking shots. Which brings us back to the core issue. The Lakers just need more length and bounce on the wing. If they had a couple of 6'8" dudes who could run and jump and stay in front of their man, suddenly this whole roster looks different. Luka's going to do what Luka does. He's a walking mismatch. You pack the paint, he still gets his. The Warriors threw everything at him, and he still dropped over 40 while barely hitting any threes. That tells you everything. The guy is elite. You don't need to worry about his side of the ball. But if you surround him with the right kind of athletes, the slashers, the cutters, the defenders, now you've got something dangerous. Let him draw the attention. Let the defense collapse. That opens up cuts, lobs, offensive rebounds. If you have two wings out there who can defend and finish, Luka will make sure they eat. Same with Ayton. He's a threat in the pick and roll. And if defense is keying too hard on Luka, Ayton becomes a problem rolling to the rim. Imagine a lineup with Luka, Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, Ayton, and a wild card like Theo, assuming he lives up to some of that defensive potential. You're not asking Vondo and Theo to score 20. Just play hard, fly around, contest everything, rebound, and finish the scraps Luka leaves behind. That's the type of role that wins games in April and May. And here's the thing. You don't need to spend your only first-rounder to get that kind of help. There are players out there, young, overlooked, underused guys, who can give you what you're missing. They're not going to change your whole franchise, but they can absolutely change a rotation. You bring in two of those guys, swap out some of the dead weight, and suddenly you're faster, more aggressive, more physical. That's the kind of identity this Lakers team needs to chase. They've got the brains and the skill. Now they need the legs. They need that edge. You look at some of the top teams, Boston, Denver, Milwaukee. They've got guys who can move, who can switch, who can turn defense into offense. The Lakers are stuck playing catch-up in that department. And if they wait too long, they're going to find themselves a step too slow when it really matters. So while it's only one game, the message is clear. The roster, as currently built, has holes, and we're not talking about chemistry or effort or scheme. We're talking about physical tools. You need wings with length. You need switchability. You need guys who can close out, recover, and still have the balance to finish on the other end. That's the next evolution for this team. And they better figure out before the gap gets too wide to close. And listen, it's not just about making one or two trades and magically becoming a title contender. This isn't about putting a Band-Aid on a broken system. It's about defining what kind of team this Lakers squad actually wants to be. Are they built around high IQ, slow-paced half-court execution? Or are they leaning into a more modern, up-tempo style that requires athletes who can fly around and create chaos? Because right now, it kind of feels like they're caught in between not slow and methodical enough to dominate that way, and not young and explosive enough to keep up with teams that are playing fast and free. That's the identity crisis we're seeing on the court. Luka brings that superstar engine. He controls the tempo, he creates mismatches, and he's always one step ahead mentally. But you can't just surround him with players who can't keep up physically. You need him surrounded by dogs, guys who can hound the ball defensively, who can keep the floor spaced, and who can actually run in transition. Right now, outside of Vondo and maybe one or two others, they don't have those guys. And that brings us back to the lineup conversation. Look, it's great that Austin Reeves is developing into a reliable shot creator and a secondary playmaker. He's smart, he plays hard, and he has chemistry with Luka. But if you're going to keep him in the starting lineup, and it looks like that's the plan, then you need to make up for the athleticism somewhere else. You can't have a starting five where only one guy is truly explosive and switchable on defense. You need at least two, ideally three guys on the floor at all times who can rotate, help, close out, and stay in front of their man. That's why a balanced starting five matters. Luka, Reeves, Vanderbilt, Ayton, and one more high-motor wing. That's the formula. You can't always find that perfect fifth guy, but you can build around that idea. And if it's not someone on the current roster, then you've got to go out and get him. Maybe it's a guy like Herb Jones. Maybe it's someone like Miles Bridges or Andrew Wiggins if a deal lines up. But you need that player, that last piece that glues the defense together without needing touches or shots. And when we talk about balance, we're not just talking about defense. We're talking about energy, hustle, and the ability to do all the little things that don't show up in the box score. Think about the teams that make deep playoff runs. They all have those guys, the unsung heroes who die for loose balls, contest shots late in the clock, fight for rebounds, and run the floor every possession. That's what wins in the postseason. That's what turns a good team into a dangerous one. The Lakers have some of those ingredients, but it's incomplete. And until they address that, there's always going to be a ceiling to how far they can go. That's not a knock on Luka or LeBron or even Ayton. It's just the reality of roster construction. If your main scorers are not elite defenders, you must surround them with players who can cover for that. If your wings are slow-footed or undersized, you'll get burned in today's NBA. That's just how the game is played now. You need versatility. You need legs. You need length. That's why even a move for two lesser-known but hyper-athletic players off the street could make a massive difference. Give me a couple of 6'7", long-arm defenders who play hard, and suddenly you've got something. They might not hit threes consistently. They might not be rotation locks every night. But if they can give you 15 minutes of chaos, of pure effort, that could swing close games, that could spark runs. That's what's missing right now. And again, this isn't about dumping all your chips into one trade. You don't need to blow up the core. You need to tweak the role players. Find the right role guys that complement your stars. Because Luka is already doing the heavy lifting offensively. He doesn't need more scoring help. He needs support. He needs runners, defenders, finishers. He needs a team that doesn't slow him down. Let's take it a step further. Imagine you've got Luka running the offense. You've got Ayton setting screens and crashing the rim. You got Vondo flying around defensively. And then you add a guy like Theo, who might not have the shot yet, but he's long, athletic, and can finish around the rim. Suddenly, you've got spacing through movement, not just shooting. You got driving lanes, lob threats, and the ability to force turnovers and get out in transition. That's the formula for modern success. And if LeBron is back in the mix, even better. He's worked on his catch-and-shoot game, and he doesn't need to dominate the ball as much anymore. Let Luka initiate. Let LeBron pick his spots and surround them with athletes. That's how you win. Look, the Lakers are in a tough spot. They've got high-end talent. They got some pieces that work. But unless they commit to building around a modern identity, one that values movement, length, and versatility, they're going to keep falling just short. Every year, it's the same story. Get to the playoffs, hope the stars stay healthy, and pray the role players step up. That's not sustainable. You need a system. You need structure. And that starts with personnel. Before we continue, we ask that you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Lakers updates. Moving on, the NBA rumor mill is on fire this morning, and all eyes are on Los Angeles. Sources close to the league are buzzing with whispers that Kevin Durant, one of the most prolific scorers of his generation, has allegedly given a yes to the Los Angeles Lakers. While nothing has been officially confirmed, the mere possibility of Durant donning the purple and gold has sent shockwaves through the basketball world. Durant, known for his scoring versatility and clutch performances, has long been a coveted prize for teams looking to immediately contend for a championship. For years, Lakers fans have dreamed of pairing him with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, forming a trio that could rival any dynasty in NBA history. Insiders suggest that Durant's potential arrival could reshape the Western Conference, shifting the balance of power and creating a new epicenter of superstar talent in Los Angeles. The timing, sources say, is impeccable. After seasons marked by injuries, near misses in the playoffs, and high-profile roster moves, the Lakers appear ready to go all in. Front office discussions are reportedly intense, with multiple scenarios on the table to make room for Durant under the salary cap. While Durant has historically been cautious about joining teams with heavy expectations, the lure of Los Angeles and the chance to chase another championship alongside familiar faces may have been irresistible. Speculation aside, the social media reaction has been instant and electric. Fans are already imagining the highlight reels. Durant's silky jumpers, LeBron's court vision, and Davis's rim protection blending into a nearly unstoppable force. Critics, of course, caution about chemistry, injuries, and the challenges of integrating another superstar into a team with established hierarchies. Still, the excitement is palpable, with betting lines reportedly shifting and analysts scrambling to adjust their projections for the upcoming season. As always with NBA rumors, caution is warranted. Nothing is signed and nothing is certain. But if Durant really has said yes, even tentatively, the Lakers could be on the verge of one of the most dramatic transformations in recent memory. A move that would captivate fans, dominate headlines, and make Los Angeles the city everyone watches in the 2025 NBA season. Until the ink is on the contract, the speculation will continue, and the dream of a Durant-led Lakers dynasty is alive and buzzing louder than ever. Stay informed exclusively about Los Angeles Lakers news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep receiving daily updates. Also, share your opinion on the news in the comments, as your contribution is crucial for the Lakers. Stay tuned for the next video.